watching News Cafe on the Solar News Channel. Election day is getting nearer, and already it's heating up with various issues and problems that have popped up, such as the expenses made by the COMELEC in preparation for Election Day and resolutions passed and being implemented on the candidates and on media. Joining me today, currently the Director of the Law Department of the COMELEC, is also the head of the COMELEC's Campaign and Finance Unit. She's Director Esmeralda Amora Ladra. Director, thanks. Thanks for being here and welcome to News Cafe.
I really appreciate the opportunity that you are giving the COMELEC.
Ma'am, let's start with the PCOS machines. Where are we in terms of the issue about the PCOS machines?
Actually, as of this time, we already have owned the PCOS machines after we have exercised the option to purchase.
Okay.
That is an offshoot to the 2010 contract that we had with Smartmatic.
Okay. Since when have we owned the PCOS machines?
I think the contract was executed last year. And in fact, our critics have already brought them up to the Supreme Court, the issue on the option to purchase that we were able to exercise, and the Supreme Court has already ruled on the matter.
All right. Let's go to campaign financing. It's a new department in the COMELEC. And why was it formed?
Actually, it's not a department.
Okay, it's a unit.
A campaign finance unit is just a unit as of this time per resolution number 9616. It's being handled by the law department. We have assigned staff and our personnel, but we also have a committee which is headed by Honorable Commissioner Lim, and some offices under not only the law department. We have also the clerk of the commission or the COMELEC secretary's office. We have the office of the election records and statistics department, the education and information department, the election and barangay affairs department, and the other departments that may be called upon to help us in this endeavor that we are now trying to strictly implement. Okay,
the finance unit, what is the main focus of the campaign finance unit?
It's on the electoral expenditures of our candidates and political parties and even the party lists.
Dati ba ho wala niyan?
Meron, but the unit itself, hindi pa po siya na-create.
Okay. In 2010, there was no campaign finance unit, or before 2010?
Yeah, there was no campaign finance unit in 2010 or before, but the law department was the one taking charge for this submission of the statement of contributions and expenditures.
Why was this unit formed if the law department was already handling it before?
Actually, we wanted to strictly implement and strengthen, of course, the implementation of our requirement of the law in the submission of the expenditures, statement of contributions and expenditures of our candidates and party lists.
So this new unit is going to focus on expenditures,
contributions and expenditures. And of course, in connection with that, kasi there are so many matters that involves the expenditures and these contributions.
Like for example, what, ma'am? Mami, madami akong tanong. Like what, ma'am, for example?
Like for example, the costs of campaigning.
Okay.
All other expenditures as regards campaigning, all campaign activities, and even yung mga advertisements nila, and even yung mga printing of materials, even yung kanilang rental ng mga headquarters, and the cost of deploying watchers, and all other expenses as regards their candidacies.
Okay. In terms of expenses, are candidates or political parties required to submit to you a program of expenses at the start pa lang of campaign, before they go campaigning? Do they have to submit that?
They don't have to submit to us, but of course we require, for example, the lawful propaganda materials. No? They have to make sure that they follow our allowable sizes, and on the places where they should be put, they should also follow the number of airtime or the number of hours for an aggregate
minutes
amount
and hours, yes.
For airtime and even yung sa printed materials in newspapers and tabloids and other activities still in connection with their campaign. And
okay, so you don't require the candidate to submit beforehand.
We don't.
No? Ang mangyayari na, you ask them to submit after the elections?
Yes. No, it's not
or
really.
Or during the campaign?
For example, rallies.
Oo.
We require them to submit, of course, notice to the election officer.
For every rally?
Yeah, for every rally that they will have to conduct in whatever area.
In the Philippines?
In the Philippines, of course.
Like, kunyari, una was in Bulacan yesterday. Dapat specified yun. Pupunta kami sa San Miguel, Bulacan, sa Giginto, etc., etc. on particular days?
Yes po. And they have to get notify first the election officer that they're going to conduct rally or meeting within his area of jurisdiction. Okay,
the election officer and the local.
Yeah.
Okay.
The municipal election officer or the city election officer. The place where the rally or meeting will be held.
So they have to tell COMELEC national and local as well.
Local muna.
Local muna.
Yeah.
Kailangan ba sabihan yung national?
The EO will be also notifying us, especially the EID, who will be also monitoring, because both the municipal election officer and EID will be monitoring that. But the first responsibility is with our election officer. And
why do you need to monitor the sorties? Lahat na pupuntahan la. Why do you need to know that?
Because first of all, we have to make sure that during the monitoring, make sure that all the activities that they will be doing is in accordance with law.
Okay.
So if ever our monitoring report will say that they did this and that, not in accordance with our laws, then of course the monitoring officer, like the election officer, will be submitting a complaint to us or an affidavit complaint. Okay,
so if you know that a particular party or candidate is conducting a rally in a particular place, the election officer in that locality will be at the rally to monitor the rally itself.
Yes, they are tasked under our rules to monitor and in fact have an ocular inspection in the premises during the rally.
What isn't allowed in a rally?
Okay, we of course don't exercise yung sinasabi nilang censorship.
Okay.
What we are trying to do is to check kung ang ginagawa nila sa rally, wala bang violation sa ating rules.
What are violations?
So, like for example, if they will be in one meeting, in that meeting that they will be holding, they will be like having a paraffle. Or magkaroon sila ng free transportation, free food, within 5 hours.
Pupunta?
Yes po.
Okay.
Within or before 5 hours before.
Before the start of the rally.
Yeah, before the start of the rally and after the rally.
And after
they should not give food, free food, transportation, drinks, and other things of value to the ones who are there attending the rally.
What if those who are attending the rally are organized groups, supporters nila? Pwede pakainin yun? Pwede sunduin?
Doon sa ating rules kasi, wala siyang sinabi whether or not supporters or organized.
So whoever is in the rally,
yes,
whether they're organizations or supporters or whoever, hindi pwedeng sunduin, ihatid, hindi pwedeng pakainin.
5 hours before the rally, bawal po yun. And after the rally.
And do they comply? Do the parties comply? Have they complied?
Well, so far we have not received any complaint yet or any report from the election officer that they have violated such.
So, okay pa naman hanggang ngayon. What if it's not a political party? Like, for example, the issue about the Catholic Church, yung Team Patay, Team Buhay. Where are we on that? Nasa Supreme Court
Nasa Supreme Court na.
But if, for example, kasi ang ginawa ng simbahan, naglagay dun sa simbahan.
Yes po.
Naglagay ng poster.
Yes po.
And the poster was too big.
For us, it's only kasi ang maximum amount is 2 by 3 feet.
Okay, 2 feet by 3 feet.
Yes po.
So it's not the lawful size.
Yes po.
And that is your only issue.
That's the only issue that we have.
About what the church did.
Yes po.
Hinati nila yung sign.
Yes po.
Malaki pa din.
According to the size na na atin allowable,
yes,
it's, I think, according to our election officer, it's more.
It's more than 2 feet
More
by
than
3
2
feet.
feet by
Kahit
3
hinati
feet.
na nila.
Yes po.
Does it matter what they write on it?
Well, it doesn't.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
So I can write, if I put a poster on my house, sa labas ng bahay ko, and I say, wag niyo iboto si ganito dahil hindi siya magaling, or whatever I want to say, pwede yun.
Pwede po. As
If
long as
it's 2
also
feet
you will
by
not.
3 feet.
Yeah.
Kahit murahin ko yung tao,
You have to face maybe kung
I have to
yung tao
face
ay-
laws, of course, no?
Of course.
But in terms of
Under our
the
existing laws.
standards of the COMELEC, pwede yun. If I put it in front of my house, I can put whatever
That's your
poster
private
I want.
property.
That's my private property. It's my initiative. It's my right as a citizen to express myself in these elections. Dapat lang tama yung size.
Opo.
Okay.
And so
is the issue of location an issue at all?
Of course.
Okay.
It's always an issue. So private properties, as long as you have the consent of the owner, the candidates or political parties or party list for that matter, can put whatever gusto nilang ilagay doon.
In the case of the church, sila yung owner. Obviously.
Siguro, oo. I'm not comfortable also talking about it now because it's with the Supreme Court.
Okay, but
as long as, ang amin lang, as long as we follow the size and the location, yung sa church, we're not even raising the issue.
Okay, let's not talk about the church. Let's talk about me.
Yes.
If I put a poster on my house and I say whatever I want and it's 2 feet by 3 feet, pwede.
Pwede po.
That's not against the law.
It's your right.
All right. So the only issue with the church actually is the size.
Again.
Again, no? The size. So if they follow the size, okay lang yan. They can say whatever they want.
Maybe let's talk about private persons.
Private person. Okay.
Not necessarily the church,
All right,
because
let's
it's
go back
with the
to that.
Supreme Court
But
now.
we'll go back to the discussion. We'll take a short break. News Cafe will return after these reminders. You're still watching News Cafe on the Solar News Channel. We are still joined by Director Esmeralda Ladra, Director of the COMELEC's Law Department and Head of the Campaign and Finance Unit. Ma'am, again, thanks for joining us. How do you trace how much each candidate is spending? How much are they allowed to spend?
Okay, for candidates, they are allowed to spend only 3 pesos per registered voter in the respective constituencies.
For local?
For local.
Okay.
So in case of national, the registered voters for the entire country.
Okay.
And for political parties, they are also allowed 5 pesos.
Per candidate,
5
per
pesos
voter?
per registered voter.
Per registered voter?
Per registered voter. And for the independent candidates who have no political parties, they are allowed also 5 pesos for each registered voter.
When you say political party, 5 pesos per registered voter, for the entire slate na yun?
For the entire slate.
Not per candidate?
Not per candidate.
What about the candidate, the senatorial
3 pesos.
candidate? 3 pesos.
3 pesos.
So if you're a candidate, 3 pesos.
Yes po.
If you're a political party, 5 pesos.
5 pesos.
Nasusunod ba yun?
That we have to check when they will be submitting their SOCES or the Statement of Contributions and Expenditures.
Statement
Yan
of
yung
Contribution and Expenditures.
Yes po.
When do they submit this?
They will have to submit it within 30 days after the election day. So after the May 13, they have until June 13 to submit it.
In the past election in 2010, did the candidates submit?
Yes po. There were so many candidates also that did not submit. And so we were able to even, in fact, listed them down.
Okay.
And sent this to the committee, the Campaign Finance Committee.
So what happens if they didn't submit?
We have fines. In fact, at this time, our resolution has already scheduled fines for each of the positions and even for the political parties, because it will not only be the candidate who will submit the Statement of Contributions and Expenditures, but of course the treasurers of the political parties. So if the treasurer or the candidate themselves won't be able to submit their statements on time, they will have to face the penalty of fine after we will notify them. And then if they will have to fail for 2 times, whether successive or alternate elections, they will have also to face perpetual disqualification. That's under our Republic Act 7166.
In the last elections 2010, meron hindi nag-file?
Meron po.
So hinahabol niyo ngayon?
We in fact have been sending notices even before this election. We have been sending notices for them to send us an explanation why they were not able to file the same and imposed fines on them.
How much are the fines?
The fines may schedule, depende po yun sa ating position and ang ating batas, sinasabi doon, whether a party or candidate, ang sinasabi doon sa batas, pag first offender ka, it's between 1,000 to 30,000
pesos.
For the second, 30,000 pesos. For the second offense, 2,000 to 60,000. Kayang-kaya po. Kaya lang po, they should not forget that pag dalawa na pong failures nila,
you're disqualified permanently.
We will be filing petitions.
Has anyone been disqualified?
Not yet, because what we did, if you remember, sabi nyo nga, ngayon lang natin na-strengthen yung ating, we have it as reckoning period noong 2007, but we're still trying to list down all the rest of the candidates.
All right. Is there any limit? If I want to contribute to a candidate, is there any limit as to how much I can give a candidate?
For the contributions, actually, under our laws, wala akong nakikita na limit.
So I can give a candidate 100 million pesos?
Yes, but of course, kaya si Presidente Pinoy, sinasabi niya, ang dami niyang nakuha noon. But of course, yung expenditures natin will really have to be within the limit. So yan yung, as of this time, our laws set a limit on the expenditures, but I have yet to see a law na nagsasabing this much lang ang pwedeng ma-contribute.
How many voters do we have? 50 million?
52 million plus.
52 million. So if it's 3 pesos per voter, if I'm running for the Senate, I'm allowed only 150 million pesos or so.
Or so.
To spend.
Kung ilan yung registered voters natin.
In the last election,
3 pesos.
How much did the presidential candidate spend?
Nako, I cannot I cannot remember.
Mga 400 million, if I'm not mistaken, 400 to 500 million.
Yeah,
Does that mean they overspent?
If in case they have that expenditures, ang registered voters natin at the time, if I remember it right, was only 50 million plus. So i-multiply yun. Pag presidential and vice presidential, they're allowed 10 pesos for each registered voter.
For each registered voter.
For each registered voter.
So that's 500 million. So both the all of the presidential candidates were well within.
Of course, I'm not sure if they're well within. No?
Yes, they are, because I saw the numbers.
Yeah, at the time I was not yet.
I think Senator Manny Villar spent almost 500. Then Senator Aquino, now President Aquino, spent less than 500 as well. So they're well within the allowable limit.
And I'm sure you're accurate, because if you are a candidate, you will not also submit something that is, outside of the limited.
You don't want to say I'm breaking the law if you're a candidate.
Of course.
All right. So campaign contributions can be no matter anyone can give money, any amount can be accepted, but you're limited to a particular amount only to spend if you're a candidate.
Yes.
In terms of commercials on TV and advertisements on print, ang dami nagsasabi networks, the TV networks are saying na masyadong konti yung airtime. What's the philosophy behind that, ma'am?
Of course, first of all, I would like, at the onset, I would like to say that at this time, nasa Supreme Court din ang petition ng dalawang networks. I will not even mention. Pero may petition sila.
All right. But what's the philosophy behind that? Limiting the number of commercial minutes on air?
It still has in connection with the limitations on expenses. Because these expenditures are also counted against the candidate or political party sa kanilang limited expenditures under the law.
But if I'm a candidate and I decide I'm a senator, I'm limited to 3 pesos per voter. There are 50 million voters. That means my limit is 150 million pesos for the entire campaign. What if I decide to spend the 150 million pesos all on TV?
It's up to you. We are not...
Pero limited yung commercial minutes ko.
Of course.
Paano yun?
Of course. Kaya nga sinasabi natin, because first of all, hindi mo naman masabi na wala kang campaign expenses. I mean, not not na, kahit sasabihin mong dito lang ako sa TV.
Alright.
What about pag nanangampanya ka going around? Kasama na doon yung transportation nyo, at
saka lodging, food, etc.
Yung headquarters mo, and etc.
Okay.
So parang hindi ba possible na sasabihin mo sa amin na yun lang ang expenses ko, wala nang iba.
But why is that the only reason you're limiting airtime for candidates on TV and on radio?
Of course, that's the first and foremost reason.
Okay. What are the other reasons?
The other reasons will be like, kung nagkakampanya tayo, the reason why we have Republic Act 9006 is for the playing field to be leveled.
Okay.
Alam nyo naman, hindi lahat ng kandidato mayaman. So yung mga pulubi na cannot afford for that kind of
TV
expenditures or TV ads na napakamahal, alam naman natin yon. Kawawa naman sila. So we would like to give them also...
so binabawasan na lang yung advantage nung may pera.
Correct. Oo.
Kasi if you have money, makakapagpalabas ka pa din ng TV ad.
Opo.
Yung walang pera, kahit kailan, hindi magkaka-TV ad.
Yes po.
So you're just... When you say leveling the playing field, medyo binabawasan mo lang yung advantage nung may pera.
We're trying to check and balance kung saan-saan pwede silang magka-level.
Yeah. And how many minutes are they allowed? Konti lang, no?
Konti
120 minutes. And that's the total.
Aggregate amount.
Aggregate amount, no? When I say aggregate amount, if I'm a TV station, for example, ma'am, and I play one commercial now, and it's played nationwide on my network. I'm a national network. Does that count as 1 minute yung commercial ko kunyari? Does that count as 1 minute no matter how many stations it airs on?
Kung sabay?
Oo. Just one. Simultaneous.
Simultaneous? Yeah. I think it's counted one. Pero,
as 1 minute?
Okay. Aggregate yun. Pero pag sabay, not na ngayon advertisement, ikaw ang tapos in another minute or second, iba na naman. Ikaw pa rin, ibang station na naman.
Ibang bilang yun.
Ibang bilang yun.
So if I play a commercial now, my commercial, and it's aired nationwide, isa lang yun.
Isa lang.
So it makes more sense for the candidates to buy on national networks.
Especially for national
positions.
Kasi kung local ka, hindi ka naman siguro mapapa-advertise na.
Yeah. So it makes more sense to buy on national networks. So that's, if for example, I'm a network in Manila, and I play a commercial of one candidate, and there's an affiliate network in the provinces who plays that commercial at the same time. Dahil naka-hook up sa akin.
Regional, local.
Original, tapos may local station na pick up yung signal ko. Is that counted as just one?
I think so far, we consider it as one. Pag Simon.
Just one, no? Simon.
Pag Simon.
Oo, Simon, no? Wag lang yung ibang oras.
Not unless the commission will have to issue a ruling or a resolution on that.
To clarify that matter. But as of now, it's just one. Okay. How do you monitor who follows and who doesn't follow in terms of media?
We have
i-monitor na.
First of all, pag magkakontrata, within 5 days, pinapasubmit namin yung contract to the EID or to the Regional Election Director kung saan located yung network, no, or whatever na station or institution. Then the EID, the Education Information Department, and the election officers, the COMELEC officials within that area will have to monitor.
How do they monitor? Do they tape the entire program? The entire day?
Yes, I think so. I'm not really familiar with them taping the entire day, no? Pero we are supposed to monitor it. For example, if the contract says, di ba naka-specify naman yun sa kontrata, then they have to check.
Are interviews allowed by politicians?
Interviews.
Can a politician buy, let's say, 5 minutes para ma-interview siya on a radio station?
I think depende yan sa kontrata ninyo.
But is that allowed?
Yung interview ba, yes. In fact, some are doing that, no? Pero meron kasi yung bayad, di ba? Yung pag ikaw yung nagre-request that you be interviewed. Not unless incidental.
I'm a senatorial candidate. Tapos your radio station, I say, sige, bigyan kita ng 10 million pesos. Yung 10 million pesos, itabi mo lang sa'yo, pag tuwing bibisita ako sa isang stasyon mo, bawasan mo yung 10 million pesos ng 50,000 pesos per interview, let's say. That's allowed.
That's allowed, but that would be counted against him.
Okay, so the issue there is just time.
Of course.
No? On-air time.
Air time.
If he's interviewed for 5 minutes,
then 5
aggregate,
minutes.
Kasama sa aggregate yun, na 5
yes
minutes.
Po.
Okay. And that's monitored as well.
Yeah, that's monitored. And ang sinasabi ngayon, Sir Jing, ang sinasabi natin ngayon, I don't know if the resolution or any resolution for that matter will come out from the commission. No? But at this time kasi, we still have that issue before the Supreme Court.
All right. Ma'am, we've run out of time. Just a short statement from you on behalf of the Commission on Elections. Okay.
I would like to ask the voters themselves, and in fact, I would like to thank them through Twitters and Sumbong Kona program. We are able, most of the time, to check on the compliance or non-compliance of our candidates on our rules. And I would like also to thank all the candidates and political parties and even the party list who have been trying to comply. I hope magtulungan po tayo to enforce our election laws, and because this is not for COMELEC alone. Elections is for the entire country.
That's right.
Dapat sama-sama tayo na mag-comply sa batas natin. Hindi lang dapat kami maghahabol, kundi dapat you should also try to comply with our rules, because you will be soon elected with the people, you will become public servants, and we shall expect more obedience and faithful compliance to the laws pag kayo na po nakaupo. So in order for you to be able to get the votes of our wise voters now, then just obey our election laws.
Thank you, ma'am. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. I'd like to thank my guest, Director Esmeralda Ladra, for joining me today on this special one-on-one interview. Join me again next Friday for another 360-degree discussion right here on News Cafe. I'm Jing Magsaysay. Salamat po.
Sa karoon sa bukod, hindi na ba nakasalanan?